Can you tell me who or what your article is about?
So, my article, Clothing as a Site of Memory, the Uses and Legacy of Suffrage Fashion, really looks at the fashion practices and the embodiment of uh, both the suffragists in the early 20th century, but also how later feminists and women politicians in particular use that fashion colors, styles, practices, attitudes in their own way as a means to commemorate and to pay tribute both to the suffrage movement, but also to the ideas that the suffrage movement uh, advocated and worked for, and really to think about how clothing style can be both a side of memory and tribute to the suffrage movement and the suffrage struggle, but also how it is a living memory in that sense that create this idea of women in politics.
So, can you tell me what is the quintessential gist of your argument in your article?
So what I argued in the article that not only that the original suffragists were very fashion savvy and used both color and style to persuade men mostly, right, to give them the vote and to promote their agendas, but that idea of using fashion as a political tool was very effective also throughout the 20th century when women are also looking to whether break glass ceilings in terms of political representation or to promote other feminist agendas. So really to look at fashion not just as a site of memory and of kind of like paying tribute to the generation that came before, but also as a living political means to create a legacy and kind of like continuation of those ideas and goals that gets recreated both in the 20th century, kind of like moved into more of the late 20th and early 21st century.
Hey, and a year on from publication, where has your research into sites of suffrage memory taken you?
So we are in election year. So it has become kind of like an interesting way to think about how suffrage legacy, and especially in fashion, and how politicians, specifically in the US context, both Kamala Harris, but also earlier Nikki Haley and other women politicians are really using, and how much suffrage is still present and not present in this political discourse in terms of fashion. And I think we do see that, for example, the color white has been kind of like become kind of like more mainstream in public memory as the suffrage color in that regard. So I think like as we get further and further from the centennial, and maybe the memory of suffrage is no longer kind of like very present in popular culture, we can still see those references even today, which I think says something about kind of like the longevity of this idea.